Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris, and recently we've been doing a lot of work in the city. There's been a lot of progress that's been made, but I want to go back and I want to add in your guys' suggestions because you guys have been giving some great ideas for things to add to the city, and so I want to start doing that and adding those suggestions in. So let's get started. All right, so the first suggestion that I'm going to add today is actually with the corner kiosk here. This was the gift with purchase to coincide with the Tudor corner on the left there. And I put it here across the street from the Palace Cinema, and I think that looks pretty good, but I don't like the open back to it. I didn't like that in that original video, and some of you guys also seem to not like that. And you guys suggested that I should add a door here. So to whoever suggested that, thank you. That's a great idea. So I'm going to take this apart here. It should be pretty easy to just add a door in there, and then we can take it from there. But other than that, this seems like a pretty simple change. All right, so there's a slight issue with the standard 6 tall doors that Lego makes nowadays, and it is one plate too high. So that is kind of unfortunate. I also wouldn't use this door here. It would be one like the green one there that you see. I would put a door like that style of door here, but this doesn't fit. So I'd have to either modify the build here, or what I could do is actually use this door here. Lego hasn't made a door like this in some years now, but I put a 2x4 plate on the bottom and a 2x4 tile on the top, and that would fit here, although I don't know if I like the look of that. I think it looks okay. It doesn't look spectacular, but it works fine enough. And if you go ahead and place the roof back on here, it definitely works, although I don't know if it works that well. So I think I'm actually going to end up going with this 5-brick tall door here. I don't think it looks that bad, especially when you take a step back here. I think it actually looks pretty good. And also, I like how the door doesn't have any windows on it, so it gives the person working in there some privacy. So I quite like that, and I think we're going to go with that. So thank you to whoever suggested adding a door to this. So now we can move on to the next suggestion. And so actually the second suggestion is also related to the corner kiosk here, and it's actually to add tiles to the front of the corner kiosk to help bridge the gap between it and the sidewalk. And I think that's a great idea, actually. I don't even know why I didn't do that during the video, but we're going to go and add just a couple tiles in here. It's going to be pretty simple. It's just going to be, I think, 2 1x2 tiles right in front of these two 2x2s right there. So let me go grab those 1x2 tiles and we can add those in and see how it looks. All right, so I went ahead and I added the 2 1x2 tiles in and also the quarter round tiles on each side to help round it out. And I think that really helps a lot. And I think that looks a lot better. Even from the angle back here, it still looks good and it looks better. But it really shines when you come around this way and you can actually see the whole thing here. So I'm happy with that, and I think that looks really good. And so now we can move on to the next suggestion. So thank you to whoever suggested both the door and the tiles. That was a great idea, or a great set of ideas. So thank you. That really helps elevate this little kiosk to the next level. All right, so we didn't move very far from the corner kiosk there, but the next suggestion was to actually fix up the train station platform here. And I've been meaning to do this for some time, ever since this table went in here, but I just haven't gotten around to it yet, and so I figured I would finally take the time to do that today. So we are going to take this out, and pretty much all we're going to be doing is just extending it out to this corner here, just so this train line here has the platform all the way to the edge. And I think that's a really good idea, so let's go ahead and do that really quick. And thank you to whoever suggested this. It put this back on the top of my to-do list here, and so I'm glad I can finally get this done. All right, so the platform is now in, and so now I just need to go in and add a couple figures on here. I did go and add a little bit of detail to it just because I didn't have enough tiles to finish it, so I figured I would just, or enough 2x2 tiles, I mean, so figured I would go in and just add a little bit of a crack in there to make it look like a little bit more interesting, have a little bit more detail to it. So now what I want to do is I want to find just two more black 1x4 tiles, and then the track ballast is 100% done. So that's awesome. I did also have to go and change out the 2x2 tiles on this section of path here that we had to make the other day. I had to change the 2x2 tiles that were over here to 1x2s just so I could have close to enough for this section right here. But overall, I'm happy with this. I think this looks good. And so let's go and add find the 1x4 tiles, and then we can add that in, and then we can add the figures on the top, and then we'll be good to go. And with that, the track ballast is officially done. That feels really good, to be honest with you. I did only add one figure here. I don't think it needs too much more than that because that side has most of the figures. And I think that looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. And overall, I think this looks really good. I'm happy with it. I do need to figure out a way to get to this middle platform here. I haven't done that yet, but I think that's going to be in its own video here. So let me add the passenger coach back onto the tracks here, and then we can move on to the next suggestion. But once again, thank you to whoever suggested this. I really appreciate you putting this back to the front of my to-do list here. I'm really happy that I was finally able to get this done. All right, so the last suggestion that I want to talk about today is actually with the switch tracks here and also the train yard as a whole. Someone suggested that I actually swap the train yard with the buildings that are right over here on the expansion table, including the Holiday Main Street set, the Tudor Corner, the police station right here, and the boutique hotel. And this whole area here would move over to here. How that would look, I don't know. I could put all the buildings in a line, or I could just copy that exact design and then have obviously like a corner building here, and then Holiday Main Street here, Tudor Corner, and then the police station would be here, and then my path here, the hotel, and then all that stuff here, and then whatever else I want over here. That is possible, but if I move the train yard over to that expansion table, I actually have less space to work with here, because if I did do that, I've actually given this quite a bit of thought here. If I move the train yard over to here, I would take this curve and have it start here. So then it would just come straight through this way and meet up with that line of track right there. And then this track right here would go straight through to the expansion table where it would be splitting off into the train yard. And then that switch would start here. So then that switch would come out, and then there'd be two lines now here, and then it could, keep splitting from there. And so to make it an even comparison, this is that edge of the switch track right here that I was just hypothesizing, I guess is probably the best way to put it, or conceptualizing. And so that is where the edge of the table would be, where the main table meets the expansion table. And so I only have 40 inches of width in that expansion table in order to build stuff there. And so from here onward is 15, 30, and 45 inches of train yard here. It's actually even a little bit more than that because the seam of the base plate is right here. So this is technically longer than it could be over on the expansion table here. So that is why I'm not going to be making that change. That's also a massive thing to do, and that would just be its own video. And so I'm not going to do that in today's video, but I did want to also talk about the switch tracks over here. And so as you guys have probably seen at this point, the Orient Express, whenever it comes through this corner of the layout here with both of the passenger coaches, it tends to struggle sometimes, and sometimes on occasion it even actually gets stuck back here because it has the S curve from the switch, and then immediately following that is this tight curve here. And so that is not ideal. And so what I've actually been considering is moving this curve out. So I would add a straight track segment here, and then this would come all the way to the edge here. So the train crossing would be here. And then the switch track would get moved over 16 studs. And then I would just have a row of straight track going through here. And then the train would just come through like that. And then this switch would split off into those two sections there. I'm considering that, actually. I'm probably going to end up doing that within the next week or two here. So definitely stay tuned for that if you guys are interested in watching that happen. I do remember putting these in and remembering it being a pretty painful experience, but I do think that this is going to be worth it in the end because the Orient Express is a beautiful train and I want it to run around the layout smoothly and also take the coaches with it instead of just the engine and tender. So I'm probably going to end up making this change. I don't know if I'm going to put the switch track here and then put another switch track just like this, or if I'm going to have this switch track at an angle and then coming through here that way. If I do that, then these tracks won't, or the two sidings won't be on the studs evenly, and they also won't be evenly spaced. But I think that's probably a better move because otherwise if I just had a second switch track here, that switch wouldn't end until here. So that's something to keep in mind. And so that is kind of what I'm going with here. But we got a lot done today. It was a lot of smaller things, but I'm happy that I was able to get that stuff done. And so thank you to all of you guys who suggested something. And I really appreciate it. I do read pretty much every single comment that is put on any of the videos here. And so I do really consider each and every one, and I try to make each one happen. But that's going to wrap up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked what I did, make sure to like the video and subscribe, as well as click the bell notification so you don't miss any future uploads. If you guys have any feedback for me on the stuff that we did today, or if you have any suggestions of your own, make sure to drop a comment down below so I can add that to the next video where we go and add your guys' suggestions in. But once again, thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye for now.